They say dolls are for children, but some dolls are for demons. Welcome back. I'm the Tales Keeper. Tonight we delve into the true terror behind one of the most infamous haunted objects in history, Annabelle the doll. Also, I've noticed you haven't subscribed to the channel, so how about you click that button and the notification bell for more spooky tales? And for the best experience, put on your headphones, turn down the lights, and prepare yourself for 5 real horror stories that prove Annabelle is far more than just a movie myth. Story 1. The Nurse's Gift. In 1970, a nursing student named Donna received a Raggedy Ann doll from her mother as a birthday gift. At first, it was a charming addition to her apartment, but soon Donna and her roommate Angie noticed the doll changing positions on its own. Sometimes it would be found in different rooms, or with its arms and legs crossed. Then, disturbing notes began to appear on parchment paper, reading messages like, "Help me," and "Help us." The roommates had no parchment paper in the house. A psychic medium told them the doll was inhabited by the spirit of a young girl named Annabelle Higgins, who had died tragically. Feeling sympathy, they allowed the spirit to stay. But the activity escalated. One night, a friend named Lou was attacked by an unseen force while sleeping. He awoke with deep claw marks on his chest. Frightened, Donna contacted paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren. They concluded that the doll was not possessed by a child's spirit, but by a demonic entity seeking a human host. The Warrens took Annabelle and placed her in their occult museum, sealed in a glass case with a warning, "Positively do not open." Story 2. The Motorcycle Accident. After Annabelle was locked away inside the Warren Occult Museum, curiosity didn't stop. In fact, it grew. One of the most infamous stories tied to her case happened in the late 1970s. Shortly after she was placed in her sealed glass container with the chilling sign, "Positively do not open," a young man in his early 20s visited the museum with his girlfriend. As they entered the room that housed Annabelle, he couldn't help but mock the warnings. Laughing, he tapped, then banged on the glass and joked, "If you're real, do something. I dare you. Scratch me." His girlfriend was visibly uncomfortable and begged him to stop, but he kept taunting, even pretending to talk to the doll like it was a harmless toy. Ed Warren quickly intervened. He pulled the man aside and warned him that the doll was not a joke, that mocking it could provoke something that wouldn't stop at a mere scare. But the young man shrugged it off and laughed all the way out the museum doors. On their way home, tragedy struck. While riding his motorcycle down a winding Connecticut road, the man lost control. He veered off, collided with a tree, and was thrown from the bike. He died instantly. His girlfriend survived but was severely injured and later hospitalized for over a year. When she recovered enough to speak, she recounted what happened. She said they weren't speeding. Nothing was wrong with the road. But just before the crash, her boyfriend looked over at her, and his face turned pale. He muttered, "Did you see her?" Then the bike went down. To this day, Lorraine Warren believed the young man's disrespect for Annabelle triggered the crash. It's one of the most frequently cited examples of the doll's dangerous power. The museum has never taken that story lightly. From then on, the case remained locked. And that sign wasn't just for show. Story 3. The Priest's Warning. Not long after Annabelle was placed behind the sealed glass in the Warrens Occult Museum, a Catholic priest came to bless the museum and speak with Ed and Lorraine. He was a skeptical man, logical, grounded in scripture and well-versed in spiritual warfare. But when he saw the infamous doll, his demeanor changed, though not in the way you might think. He chuckled. Scoffing at the idea that a doll could be dangerous, the priest tapped on the glass and said, "You mean to tell me this rag doll is demonic?" Ed Warren, who had seen what Annabelle was capable of, warned him not to mock it. He explained that the doll wasn't possessed by a human spirit. It was a conduit for something far darker. But the priest brushed it off with a smile and waved his hand like he was swatting away a fly. Later that day, the priest got into his car and began the drive back to his rectory. Halfway home on a quiet road just outside Monroe, his car jerked violently off course. The engine died. The brakes failed. The priest's car collided with the guardrail and skidded to a stop just inches from a steep drop into a ravine. Shaken but miraculously unharmed, the priest looked up at the rearview mirror and swore he saw something move in the back seat. When he returned to the Warrens' home days later to finish the blessing, he was pale and much quieter. He told Ed Warren, "I should have listened. Something was with me that night, and I don't think it's left." He blessed Annabelle's case without another word. He never mocked her again. To this day, Ed and Lorraine use that story as a warning to visitors. Faith might protect you, but arrogance won't. Story 4. The Museum Curator's Experience. After the deaths of Ed and Lorraine Warren, their son-in-law Tony Spira took over as the caretaker of the Occult Museum. Tony wasn't just a family member. He was trained personally by the Warrens in demonology and spiritual protection. He knew better than anyone that Annabelle was not just a doll in a case, but a dormant threat waiting for a reason to wake. One humid summer afternoon, a group of visitors came in for a private tour. Among them was a man in his mid-30s, munchier, cocky, sarcastic, and skeptical to the core. As Tony walked the group through the museum, sharing chilling stories behind the artifacts, the man kept cracking jokes and whispering under his breath. When they reached Annabelle's glass case, the air in the room changed. Everyone felt it, a sudden stillness, like the room was watching them. Tony warned the group, as always, "This case is sealed for a reason. Do not touch the glass, do not mock what's inside." But the man grinned, stepped forward, and knocked on the glass. "What's she gonna do, blink?" He scoffed. Tony snapped at him more aggressively than usual. "That's not a joke. People have died for less." The man laughed it off, but the room felt colder after that. 3 days later, Tony received a call from the man's girlfriend, her voice trembling. She said since the visit, things had gone wrong. Their apartment filled with a strong stench of sulfur. Electronics were flickering. She heard whispers when alone. Then, the man's car was totaled in a freak accident. He survived, but with a broken collarbone and a deep gash across his chest that, according to paramedics, looked like 3 claw marks. Tony said nothing publicly, but he documented the incident and placed it in the museum's logbook. He added a new phrase to the Annabelle case after that: "Mock her, and she might follow you home." Final story, Story 5. The Annabelle Tour Incident. In 2020, before the world fully shut down, the Warren Occult Museum was planning a special traveling exhibit, a limited tour of their most infamous artifacts. One of the most anticipated stops, the Black Swan Inn in San Antonio, Texas, known as one of the most haunted locations in America. For one night only, visitors could see Annabelle up close, still sealed in her glass case, transported with heavy prayer and multiple protection rituals. People traveled from across the state to see her. For some, it was a once-in-a-lifetime chance to face what they'd only seen in movies or read about online. Among the crowd was a man in his late 20s, a skeptic, loud, smug. He pulled out his phone and began recording himself, talking directly to his Instagram followers. "Say hi to the demon doll. Let's see if she's really that scary." He took a selfie with her. He tapped the glass, and then he laughed. That night, things began to spiral. The man posted that he couldn't sleep. He claimed he woke up at 3:06 a.m., completely paralyzed, unable to move or scream. In the corner of his room, he saw a figure, tall, thin, featureless, and swaying slightly like it was breathing. When he regained movement, he was drenched in sweat. The room smelled like old wood and burnt fabric. Over the next week, he saw Annabelle's reflection in mirrors that should have shown only his own. Photographs on his phone distorted, her face appearing in the background of images she was never part of. He began having violent dreams, each one ending with the same phrase whispered in his ear, "I told you not to laugh." Eventually, the man returned to social media, this time visibly shaken. He deleted all his previous videos of the event and issued a warning. "I was wrong. Don't mess with her. Don't even joke." The museum staff noted this in their records and reinforced the same warnings they'd been given for years. Annabelle may be behind glass, but as Tony Spera once said, "The case isn't to keep her in, it's to keep you out." Annabelle is more than just a doll. She's a vessel for something sinister. These stories serve as a chilling reminder. Some objects are better left untouched. Thank you for joining me, the Tales Keeper, on this journey into darkness. If you have a story to share or a topic you'd like me to explore, leave a comment below. Until next time, keep your lights on and your dolls locked away.